I want you to take a moment and think about your typical morning. You wake up, the sun is peeking through the curtains, but before you can even smile, there it is. That first step out of bed, that sharp, electric, agonizing pain that shoots from your lower back, down your hip, and all the way to your toes. It feels like a lightning bolt is trapped inside your leg. Or maybe for you, it is not a sharp pain. Maybe it is a dull, heavy, constant ache. A feeling that your leg is made of lead, or that your foot is permanently asleep. I hear from so many of you in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, and the story is always the same. You go to the doctor, and they tell you, well, what do you expect? You are getting older. It is just a bit of wear and tear. They give you a pill, or they tell you to just stretch more. But here is the problem. You have been stretching. You have been trying those yoga poses you saw online. You have been pulling on your hamstrings until you are blue in the face, and yet the pain stays. In fact, sometimes it feels worse. Why is that? Why does the healthy thing feel so wrong? It is because your body is sending you a hidden signal. That pain isn't just a sign of age. It is a cry for help from your nervous system. Your nerves are being strangled. They are being pinched, compressed, and irritated. And the traditional stretch that works for a 20-year-old athlete is actually the worst thing you can do for an inflamed nerve after age 50. Today, we are changing the narrative. We are moving away from the no pain, no gain philosophy that has failed you. We are starting a masterclass on safe nerve flossing. This is not just a workout. This is a re-education for your body. We are going to uncover the 3 critical mistakes that are keeping you in a cycle of pain. Mistakes that are so common, yet so damaging. If you have been feeling frustrated, if you have been feeling like you are losing your independence because you can't walk to the mailbox or play with your grandkids without agony, then this video is for you. We are going to fix this. We are going to find your green zone. We are going to teach your nerves how to move with freedom again. No more guesswork, no more fear, just science and a lot of compassion. Let's take that first step toward healing together. To fix the pain, we first have to understand the biology of why it is happening. Most people think of their body like a piece of machinery. They think muscles are like rubber bands and bones are like a frame. But your nerves are different. They are the most sensitive, most elegant, and most temperamental tissues in your entire body. I want you to visualize something with me. Imagine a beautiful, delicate silk thread. This thread is your sciatic nerve. It is the longest nerve in your body, running all the way from your spine to your big toe. Now, imagine this silk thread has to pass through a series of long, narrow tunnels. These tunnels are made of muscle, fascia, and bone. In a perfect world, that silk thread slides back and forth through those tunnels perfectly. Every time you walk, every time you sit, the thread glides. It is smooth, it is effortless. But as we cross the milestone of age 50, those tunnels start to change. Maybe you have a bit of stenosis, where the bone starts to narrow. Maybe a disc in your back is slightly bulging, taking up precious space. Or maybe, simply from years of sitting or old injuries, you have internal scarring. Suddenly, that wide, slick tunnel becomes tight. It becomes rough. Now, when you move, that silk thread gets snagged. It gets stuck. And here's the critical part. A nerve does not like to be pulled. When a nerve gets stuck and you try to stretch it, you are essentially strangling the nerve. You are cutting off its blood supply. Did you know that nerves have their own tiny blood vessels? They need oxygen just like your brain does. When you pull a stuck nerve, you are suffocating it. That is why you feel that zing, that electric shock. It is your nerves screaming for air. This is why traditional stretching often fails for sciatica and nerve pain. You cannot stretch a nerve into submission. You will only make it more inflamed. This is where the science of flossing, or neural gliding, comes in. We aren't going to pull on both ends of the thread at the same time. That would be a tensioner. Instead, we're going to move one end of the thread while we relax the other. Think of it like a piston in an engine, or like flossing your teeth. We are moving the nerve back and forth, gently, through that tight tunnel. We are flossing away the inflammation. We are flossing through the adhesions. We are teaching the nerve that it is safe to move again. When you glide correctly, You aren't just moving tissue, you are calming down your brain. You are telling your nervous system everything is okay. We are moving, but we are not in danger. This shift from pulling to gliding is the secret to recovery after 50, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to master it. Now, let's get into the heart of the matter. The first mistake, and perhaps the most destructive one, is what I call the aggressive stretch trap. I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. When you feel that tightness in the back of your leg, what is your first instinct? Usually, it is to reach down, grab your toes, and pull as hard as you can. You think, if I can just make this muscle longer, the pain will finally stop. But here is the shocking truth that most trainers won't tell you. That tightness you are feeling, it is not a short hamstring. It is a protective brake. Your brain is literally tightening the muscles around your sciatic nerve to keep you from stretching it. Your body is smarter than you think. It is trying to protect you. When we are over 50, our nerves become less tolerant of tension. Think of a rubber band that has been sitting in a drawer for 20 years. It is still a rubber band, but if you yank it, it might snap, or at the very least, it will get tiny micro tears. Your nerves are even more sensitive than that. When you perform an aggressive stretch, you are creating what we call a tensioner. You are pulling on the nerve from the top, near your spine, and from the bottom, near your foot. At the same time, this creates massive internal pressure within the nerve. It is like trying to pull a wet towel until it is bone dry. You are literally squeezing the blood out of the nerve. This leads to a condition called ischemia. That is a fancy word for lack of oxygen. When a nerve loses its oxygen supply, even for a few seconds, it sends out a sharp, burning, or electric signal. That is the zing you feel. And yet, so many people think that zing is a sign of progress. It is not progress. It is a warning. Every time you push through that nerve pain, you are actually making the nerve more hypersensitive. You are telling your brain that movement is dangerous. This is why you might feel flexible for 5 minutes after a stretch. But then you wake up the next morning feeling stiff as a board. Your body is rebelling against the force you used. Instead of an aggressive stretch, we need to master the shimmy. We want to move the nerve, but we never want to tension it from both ends. We want to invite the nerve to glide, not force it to submit. Remember, we are working with silk, not steel. If you can change your mindset from no pain, no gain to low tension, high motion, you will unlock the door to recovery. You aren't trying to break the nerve, you are trying to befriend it. Let's stop the yanking and start the gliding. This brings us straight into the second biggest mistake I see, which is ignoring the red lights of the body. After the age of 50, our bodies become incredibly wise. They develop a very sophisticated alarm system. But the problem is, we have spent our entire lives learning how to mute that alarm. We live in a culture that glorifies pushing through. We take an aspirin and we keep working. We feel a twinge in our back and we ignore it. We tell ourselves, I just need to toughen up. But when it comes to nerve flossing, that tough guy attitude is your greatest enemy. I want you to imagine your pain on a scale from 1 to 10. Most people think they should aim for a 5 or a 6 to see results. They think if they don't feel something, it isn't working. But in the world of neural mobility, we want to stay at a 2. Yes, a 2. If you reach a point in the movement where you feel a tingle or a numbness or that pins and needles sensation, that is not a good stretch. That is a red light. Your nerve is literally screaming at you to stop. If you keep pushing into that numbness, you are doing something very dangerous. You are actually desensitizing your nervous system. You see, your brain is constantly monitoring the health of your nerves. If you keep forcing the nerve into pain, your brain will eventually decide that the whole area is a danger zone. It will start to guard the area even more. This is how a simple pinched nerve turns into chronic, long-term pain. I see so many people over 50 who try to work through the zing. They think if they can just do 10 more reps, the nerve will give in. But nerves don't give in. They rebel, they swell up, they become mechanosensitive, meaning they will start to hurt even when you aren't moving. So, here's your new rule for today. I want you to become a sensory detective. Every time you move, I want you to ask yourself, does this feel like a 2 or is it creeping up to a 3? If it hits a 3, you must back off. Shorten your range of motion. Make the movement smaller. Make it softer. You should finish your flossing session feeling lighter and more mobile. If you finish your session feeling sore or beat up, you didn't work hard, you worked wrong. We are looking for the sweet spot of safety. Because after 50, recovery is our primary goal. We aren't training for the Olympics. We are training for a life without limitations. Listen to the whisper, so you don't have to hear the scream. Now, it is time to put everything we have learned into practice. I want you to find a firm chair, not a couch, not a bed, but a chair where your feet can touch the floor and your back can stay tall. This is the foundation of the seated glider. This exercise is the gold standard for sciatic nerve health after 50. I want you to sit on the very edge of the chair. Keep your spine long, as if a thread is pulling the top of your head toward the ceiling. Now, take a deep breath. Exhale, let your shoulders drop away from your ears. We are creating space for your nerves to move. Here's the secret to the glide. It is all about coordination. We're going to move your head and your leg at the same time, but in a very specific way. First, I want you to slowly straighten your affected leg out in front of you. As you extend that leg, I want you to slowly look up at the ceiling. Keep your chest open. By looking up, you are putting slack on the top of your spinal cord. By extending your leg, you are gently pulling the nerve down toward your foot. This allows the nerve to slide downward without any tension. Now the second half of the movement. Slowly bend your knee and bring your foot back under the chair. As you do that, slowly bring your chin down toward your chest. By tucking your chin, you are pulling the nerve up toward your brain. By bending your knee, you are putting slack on the bottom of the nerve. This allows the nerve to slide upward. Do you see what we are doing? We are playing a game of give and take. When the top pulls, the bottom lets go. When the bottom pulls, the top lets go. It is a beautiful, rhythmic, I want you to try this with me now. I want you to try. Leg out, head up, leg in, head down. Move slowly. If I could give you one piece of advice, it would be this. Move as if you are moving through honey. Thick, warm, slow honey. There is no rush. We aren't counting reps for the sake of finishing. We are feeling for that silk thread sliding through the tunnel. If you feel any sharp pain, you are moving too far. If you feel any numbness, you are moving too fast. Back off. Make the movement smaller. Maybe you only straighten your leg halfway. That is perfectly okay. Your green zone is where the healing happens. Stay with this rhythm. Feel the blood flow returning to your hip. Feel the oxygen reaching those tired nerve fibers. You are literally feeding your nerves with every gentle glide. Breathe in, leg out, head up, breathe out, leg in, head down. This is what recovery feels like. We have covered the movement, we have covered the intensity, but now we must talk about the third major mistake. And this one is about timing. It is what I call the on-fire mistake. I want you to imagine your kitchen is on fire. The curtains are burning. The smoke is thick. What is the first thing you do? You call the fire department. You use a fire extinguisher. You try to put the flames out. What you wouldn't do is start repainting the walls while the fire is still raging. The same logic applies to your nerves. There are times when your nerve is acutely inflamed. This is when the pain is an 8, a 9, or a 10 out of 10. This is when the area is hot, throbbing, and even the slightest touch makes you jump. In this acute phase, nerve flossing is not the answer. This is the mistake I see most often. Someone wakes up in agony and they think, I need to floss this nerve to make it stop. But listen to me carefully. If the nerve is on fire, moving it back and forth is like rubbing sandpaper on a sunburn. You are only going to make the inflammation worse. When you are in that high-intensity pain phase, your only job is to calm the fire. You need rest. You need gentle positions that take the pressure off. You need to let the chemical inflammation settle down. Flossing is a tool for rehabilitation, not for a crisis. Wait until your pain levels drop to a 4 or a 5 out of 10 before you start these exercises. If you try to floss through the fire, you are going to end up in a flare-up that could last for weeks. The second part of this timing mistake is overdoing it. Because we are over 50, We tend to have a very strong work ethic. We think, if 10 glides are good, then 100 glides must be 10 times better. No, that is not how the nervous system works. Your nerves have a very low threshold for fatigue. If you floss too much, you will irritate the nerve sheath. I recommend starting with only 5 to 10 repetitions, twice a day. That's it. It might feel like you aren't doing enough, but remember, we are whispering to the nervous system. We aren't shouting at it. If you do 20 reps and you feel great, fantastic. But don't do 50. Less is truly more when it comes to neural tissue. We want to give the nerve a gentle nudge toward health, and then we want to leave it alone so it can heal. Are you a pusher? Do you feel the need to do more and more? If so, I want you to reframe your thinking. Your success today is not measured by how many reps you did, but by how calm you kept your nervous system. Respect the fire and respect the recovery time. That is the secret to long-term relief. Now that you have mastered the seated glider, it is time to take your recovery to the next level. We are going to discuss a technique called the slump floss. Now, I know what you are thinking. Juniper, you have spent years telling me not to slump. You told me to sit up tall, and you are right. Usually, slumping is the enemy of your back. But in the world of nerve flossing, a controlled slump is a powerful tool for healing. I want you to understand the science here. When you sit up perfectly straight, your spinal cord is at its shortest length. But when you slump your shoulders and tuck your chin, you are actually lengthening the spinal canal. You are gently pulling the nerve tissue from the top down. Here is how we do it safely. Stay on the edge of that firm chair. I want you to let your mid-back slump forward, just a little bit. Let your shoulders round. Now, tuck your chin toward your chest. You should feel a very gentle pull along your spine. This is your starting position. Now, we add the leg. While keeping your chin tucked, I want you to slowly lift your foot and straighten your knee. Stop the moment you feel even a hint of tension. Now, here is the magic of the slump. As you straighten your leg, I want you to simultaneously lift your head and look forward. And as you bend your knee back down, tuck your chin back to your chest. Do you feel that? It is a much deeper sensation than the basic glider. We are moving the nerve through a much larger range of the spinal canal. We are clearing out the cobwebs from the lower back all the way to the heel. But listen to me. This is an intermediate move. If you're over 50, your tissues are less forgiving. You must move with extreme precision. I don't want you kicking your leg. I want you to move it like it is attached to a slow-motion pulley system. If you feel a sharp pinch in your lower back, you are slumping too far. If you feel a zing in your calf, you are lifting your leg too high. We are looking for that sweet spot, that beautiful, rhythmic, pain-free motion. I want you to visualize the nerve as a long, blue, glowing wire. As you lift your head, the wire slides up toward your ears. As you tuck your chin, the wire slides down toward your toes. You are the conductor of this symphony. You are in total control. Take a deep breath. Slow down the tempo. This isn't a race. We are polishing the nerve. We are making it slick. We are making it happy. The slump floss is your secret weapon for those stubborn, lingering aches that just won't go away. Practice this with patience, and your body will reward you with freedom. We have talked about the what and the how, but now we need to talk about the hidden mistake that ruins more recoveries than anything else. It is something you are doing right now, and you might not even realize it. It is the breath-holding trap. When we are in pain, especially after age 50, our natural instinct is to brace ourselves. We tighten our stomachs, we clench our jaws, and we hold our breath. We do it because we are afraid of the pain. We are waiting for the zing to happen. But here is the biological disaster that happens when you hold your breath. When you stop breathing, you create something called intra-abdominal pressure. It is like blowing up a balloon inside your stomach. That pressure has nowhere to go, so it pushes outward and backward, directly against your spinal discs. If you have a bulging disc or stenosis, holding your breath literally squeezes the nerve even harder. You are trying to floss a nerve while you are simultaneously sticking a clamp on it. It is impossible for the nerve to glide if your core is under that much pressure. Furthermore, holding your breath triggers your sympathetic nervous system. That is your fight or flight mode. It tells your brain, we are in danger. When your brain thinks you are in danger, it makes your nerves 10 times more sensitive to pain. You are literally turning up the volume on your own suffering. So here's your masterclass secret for today. Your breath is the lubricant for your nerves. I want you to practice the exhale on effort rule. As you straighten your leg, I want you to let out a long, slow, whispering exhale. Imagine you are blowing out a single candle across the room. By exhaling, you are relaxing the diaphragm. You are dropping the pressure in your abdomen. You are giving the nerve breathing room to slide. Most importantly, you are telling your brain, we are safe. We are relaxed. You can let go of the pain. If you find yourself biting your lip, or if your chest feels tight while you are flossing, stop. Take 3 deep belly breaths. Put your hand on your stomach and feel it rise. If your stomach isn't moving, your nerve isn't gliding. The breath is the bridge between the mind and the body. If the breath is jagged, the movement will be jagged. If the breath is fluid, the nerve will be fluid. Do not underestimate this. You can have the best technique in the world, but if you are holding your breath, you are fighting against yourself. Let's try one together. Deep breath in through the nose, and as you glide that leg out, let the air flow out like a gentle breeze. There it is. Feel the tension melt away. Feel the nerve slide without resistance. This, my friends, is the path to a pain-free life. Now that you have the tools and you know the mistakes to avoid, we have to talk about the most important ingredient for your success. It is not intensity. It is not how high you can lift your leg. It is consistency. After the age of 50, our bodies do not respond well to weekend warrior efforts. You cannot ignore your nerves for 6 days and then try to floss them into submission on Sunday afternoon. That is a recipe for a flare-up. Your nerves need a gentle, daily, rhythmic nudge. I want you to think of this like brushing your teeth. You don't brush for 3 hours once a month, do you? No, you brush for 2 minutes, twice a day. That is exactly how we approach the nervous system. Here is your recovery blueprint. I want you to choose 2 times during the day when you are already sitting down. Maybe it is while you are having your morning coffee, and again in the evening while you are watching the news. Start with just 5 glides on each leg. That is it. Just 5. I know it sounds like too little, but remember, we are whispering to the brain. We are building trust. If you do 5 glides and you feel no pain, then your brain says, hey, this is safe. We can do this again. After 3 days, if you still feel great, you can move up to 10 glides. But I want you to cap it there. 10 glides, twice a day, is the golden ratio for nerve health after 50. Now, let's talk about the environment of your recovery. If you spend the rest of your day sitting in a slumped bucket seat chair, or if you are constantly bending over to garden without supporting your back, you are undoing all of your hard work. I want you to become a guardian of your spine. When you sit, use a small lumbar roll in the small of your back. When you stand up, take a micro break every 30 minutes. Reach your arms up, take a deep breath, and let your nerves breathe. I have seen people just like you, who thought they were headed for surgery. They couldn't walk to the end of their driveway without stopping in pain. But by following this simple 10-minute-a-day blueprint, they reclaimed their lives. They started walking again. They started golfing again. They started picking up their grandkids without fear. It didn't happen overnight. It took patience. It took listening to the body. But the results were permanent. You are not broken. You are just stuck. And today, you have the map to get unstuck. Let's commit to this routine, one gentle glide at a time. We have reached the end of our masterclass. But in reality, this is just the beginning of your journey. I want you to take a deep breath with me right now. Fill your lungs. Exhale everything. Feel the weight of your body in your chair. For too long, you have been told that pain is an inevitability of age. You have been told to just deal with it. But I hope that over the last 30 minutes, you have started to see a different path. You have learned that your nerves are not enemies to be pushed, but friends to be nurtured. You have learned to avoid the traps of aggressive stretching, ignoring the red lights, and holding your breath. You have learned the secret language of the glide. As you go about your day, I want you to carry this new awareness with you. If you feel that familiar twinge, don't panic. Don't get angry at your body. Instead, I want you to smile. Because now, you know what it means. You know how to respond. You have the power to floss that tension away before it becomes a crisis. Your body has an incredible, almost miraculous ability to heal itself, even at 60, 70, or 80 years old. The biological rust can be cleared. The silk thread can slide again. You just have to give it the right environment. I want to thank you for spending this time with me. It takes courage to try a new approach, especially when you have been in pain for a long time. If this video helped you, if it gave you even a small spark of hope, please share your story in the comments below. Tell me, what was your aha moment? Are you a pusher who needs to slow down? Or are you ready to start your first 5 glides tomorrow morning? Your stories inspire this community. And if you want more science-backed, gentle, and effective strategies for your health after 50, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We have so much more to explore together on this journey of wellness roots. Remember, you are not defined by your limitations. You are defined by your resilience. Move with gentleness, move with breath, and most of all, move with joy, and I will see you in the next video. Stay healthy, stay mobile, and take care of those nerves.